How is it going, everyone? It's Caleb Limited here, and today we are going to be talking about a game on the Xbox Series X. We are going to be talking about Transformers Galactic Trials. This is another game published by Outright Games, and honestly, credit where credit is due. This is the best looking game that Outright Games has ever made. This game actually looks fantastic. I love the lighting of it. I love the style, the characters, all that stuff looks really, really good, and I think they actually knocked it out of the park in terms of graphics and just the way that this game is designed in terms of the way it looks. It looks fantastic. I love it in terms of that stuff. It's not perfect, but actually it still is overall a good game as well. So let's go ahead and talk about Transformers Galactic Trials a little bit. Transformers Galactic Trials isn't what you would expect from a regular Transformers game. It is actually a racing game of all things, which is actually kind of cool. It actually is a neat little idea. So it is a racing game, and the whole point of it is to come in first place and try to win these little shards. You collect these little shards throughout the game, and they basically are power-ups for the races. So some of them will give you extra speed, some of them will give you extra health and shields, because you can take damage during the race, and if you take too much damage, your robot will basically be destroyed. And also, there's a little bit of a twist. Another reason why you have that health and those shields is because during these races, there are random battlefields on the course. So you'll ramp into a battle zone area, you will transform once you get to that battle zone area, and you actually have to duel all these different robots that are around and make your way through this battle zone area to get back onto the racetrack, and then you'll transform into your car and start racing again. But it's actually a neat little idea. I've never seen a game quite do that before, and I mean, I guess that makes sense considering, there's only really very few franchises that could do that, and Transformers is one of them. So, really cool idea, though. I really like it. Now, the battle areas honestly aren't that complex, if I'm being honest. They're more like shooting galleries or like a shooter's course or something like that. They're nothing crazy. A lot of the robots that you're facing and a lot of the other Transformers are pretty stationary. The only Transformers that will really give you a battle are the other ones that you're racing. Those ones will actually give you a tougher time because they actually will fight you and use their abilities and stuff like that. So those ones will give you a hard time. But in terms of just the random enemies that you run into on the battle zone, they're pretty stationary. They don't really react a whole lot and they don't do much. They're pretty much just little pawns for you to destroy so you can get your power up, and then use your power up on the actual, opponents that you're racing instead. So, it's nothing crazy, but at the same time, it is different, and I've never seen it done before, and I do like the idea. I think it's a neat idea. In this game, you can be Decepticons or Autobots. However, it really doesn't matter a whole lot, honestly, because even when you're an Autobot, you're still racing the other Autobots, and even when you're a Decepticon, you're still racing the other Decepticons. And you still have to destroy the other ones in some cases. So, there's some cases where you're going to be running around as Bumblebee, and you're just going to have to open fire on Optimus Prime if you want to win. It's just how it is. I don't know why they did it necessarily. I guess just to kind of keep it all, so it's basically you against everything else. But at the same time, I kind of feel like this would have been the perfect game for a team racing style game, where if an Autobot wins, then you win the race, and depending on your placement, that's how points are distributed. I think that would have been a better way to do this, but still, it is what it is. I don't think they really cared too much about how the story works or anything like that. I think they just wanted to make a fun racing game. They didn't really care about Autobots killing other Autobots. They were just like, hey, here's a racing game, have fun. But, so, at the end of the day, that's fine. I think it's fun for what it is. You don't have a whole lot of courses to select through, if I'm being honest. But that being said, each course does feel very different from each other, so that's good. Whenever you're playing as the Transformers themselves, they also do feel pretty different from one another because mainly, their size and their speed and stuff like that. So if you're playing as Bumblebee, you're going to be a lot quicker than if you play as Optimus Prime. If you play as Soundwave, you're going to be a lot quicker than if you play as Megatron. And speaking of those characters, this actually has a pretty decent cast. I do like the cast that it has in this. You have Optimus Prime, you have Bumblebee, you have Wheeljack, which that was a little bit of a weird choice. I don't really know anyone that likes Wheeljack, but that's fine. He's in the game. You have Alita 1, and you also have RC. On the Decepticon side, you have Megatron, you have Soundwave, you have Shockwave, and Shockwave, we'll talk about that in a minute. You have someone called Flame War. I have never heard of this Transformer before. I don't know who she is. She just popped up, and she's in this. You have another one called Nightbird or something like that, or I don't know if I said that right. But you have another one that I haven't unlocked yet because it's too big of a pain in the butt to unlock, or we'll get into that here in a minute too. And you also have Nemesis Prime. So you have a decent cast here. There's a few that I would have liked to see instead of some of the ones that we got, but still, what they gave you is still pretty good. Now, what I wanted to talk about when it came to Shockwave is the voice acting. So the voice acting is, it's not great. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's good for some characters and I would say bad for others, right? So Shockwave's voice does not match him whatsoever, in my opinion. I do not like the voice they used for Shockwave. Maybe it's just because I grew up with a different Shockwave than what a lot of other people did, but I don't like the Shockwave. The voice just doesn't work for me, this weird British accent. I don't like it. But, there's other characters where the voice acting is pretty good. Like Bumblebee's voice acting, great. Flame Ward's voice acting, great. So it is kind of hit or miss when it comes to the voice acting. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about was how the speed matters in terms of this game and how you have to unlock characters. Because you have set objectives you have to complete to unlock certain characters. And that's why I haven't unlocked every single character in this game, because some of them are incredibly difficult. One of them is to finish the highest difficulty Galactic Trial and finish it in first place. You have to finish every race on it in first place as Megatron. Megatron's a tank. He's not very fast. So it's really hard to unlock all the characters in this game because you're going to have to do a lot of grinding. You're in a lot of areas when it comes to that very final Galactic Trial. I did beat it eventually, but honestly it came down to a lot of luck. This game has a huge difficulty spike. The first two Galactic Trials, pretty easy. Then once you get to that final Galactic Trial, ridiculous. You need to be in a fast car. You need to make sure you have your speed boosts going. You need to be prepared because that one's going to kick your butt. And honestly, I tried it once as Megatron. It didn't go well. I don't really want to try it again as Megatron. I'm okay with beating it as Bumblebee, which is what I did. So I think I'm just going to leave it there in terms of playing through this game. I don't know what you would consider to be a true playthrough of this game. I played every track. I just didn't unlock every single character. The only characters I'm missing is that Night Song or whatever her name is. I think Night Song is a character from Baldur's Gate. I don't think that's the right name. But I'm missing that one character. I'm missing Nemesis Prime, and those are the only two characters I'm missing. One thing I will say, though, that I like about this game, since I'm already talking about the characters, is that you do have multiple skins for the characters, which is pretty cool. So every single character has 3 total skins that they can use. They have their original, they have, I'm going to call it their Shattered Glass skin, and then they have their Prestige skin. And you actually have to get those by leveling up each character individually, because you actually get XP for each race, and depending on what you do in the race, and depending on the objectives you complete in the race, you get more XP, and that all goes towards your level. So that's pretty cool, actually. I like that they gave you multiple camos to pick from. Now, is there any more negatives when it comes to this game? Well, there's a couple more, and then we'll be basically done with all the negatives. The only other negatives I would say is whenever you are in robot mode and you're walking around, it looks a little bit funky. It is a little bit distracting every now and then because it looks a little bit like floaty. It doesn't really look quite right when they're walking. I don't know how to explain it other than it looks like they're just kind of floating on the surface. It's not quite right, and that was a little bit distracting. And then the other thing, this one I can't really blame Outright Games for, I don't think, but it's just a matter of when this is really set, because this is connected to the IDW comics, and the IDW comics are absolute trash. So I don't know whose decision that was, but that's why, like you see things like Shattered Glass references in this, because it's kind of connected to that. And like I said, the IDW comics are garbage. So, it's not a great idea to connect this game to that, especially considering I don't know a single person that likes the IDW comics. There's very few IDW comics that are actually decent. But still, either way, not a great thing to connect it to. I think they should probably just connect it to the cartoons instead. But overall, this game is pretty fun for what it is. It is fun. There's some issues. There's some difficulty spikes. But if you're looking for a fun racing game, this game controls really well. It looks really fun. The combat is fun. Racing against all these other Decepticons and these Autobots is really fun. And going around and going into these little shooting gallery areas, it's really cool. I really like it for what it is. It's not a full-price game. I picked it up on sale actually for $25, and I'm pretty happy with that price. I think that I got my money's worth, and I've enjoyed what I've played so far. I've put probably close to 10 hours in, if not more. And I've definitely enjoyed my time with it, and I think that most people will enjoy this game if they pick it up for a fair price. So pick this game up, try it out, check it out. I think it's pretty fun, and if you like Transformers and you're a Transformers fan, you will probably like this as well. I'll talk to you in the next one. Go pick up Transformers Galactic Trials on the Xbox Series X, and I'll talk to you in the next one. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.